Hello my friends, this is FC7 and I am back with another EverQuest video. This time I am going to share how I farm platinum. This is my second video actually on farming platinum in EverQuest. My first one was I made it about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was about farming Gyrospy Rosetta in Beza. This tactic that I'm going to share is in the same expansion, just a couple zones away. The expansion is Secrets of Fadewar, and the zone will be the Steam Factory. So I'm going to show you how I set up. This is Fortress Mechanatus, and there are a couple different entrances, but this is the one I use. I'm going to be using my mage right now for Call of Heroes. So it's my mage and my necromancer, and I'm going to just set up here and call my necro over. This saves a lot of time running around. There we go. So you're going to want to get into this little pipe, and it will lead you straight to the area that you want to set this tactic up in, which is around a few brownies here, and there are a few vendors, but the vendors that you're using, you have to have the right kind of faction for them. So I don't know who exactly is watching this, but if you haven't done certain faction quests for this expansion, you will not be able to sell to these two vendors. There's this one, and then there's another one over here. Right now I'm just going to show you the spell setup that I use. So right now my necro is 113, level 113, but you really don't need to be too high of a level to do this. So I'm going to set up my healer mercenary, that's very important, and then set up your sphere. This is the area of effect damage over time spell that necromancers get. And of course use Lich. And then just your hit point buff, whatever you have, is important. And then I usually try to use some invulnerability spells. I think there are 2 that stack. It'll be important when you do this. Not because you might die, but because there's a certain spell that some of these mobs use that is pretty annoying, but you can counteract it if you use an invulnerability spell. If you have some clickies, you can use that too. These are pretty helpful. I think I have a video on how to camp a couple of these. So that's the basics. You'll need your healer mercenary, some hit point buffs, and right now I'm going to have my mage just cast some damage shields on my pet, my mercenary, and then me, of course. So we'll get the damage shield set up. So like I mentioned, there are 2 vendors in here that you can sell stuff to. One of them I showed you, and the other one I'll show you in a little bit. But what we're going to be doing here, and my tactic, is just to clear the zone and sell to these 2 vendors. So I'm going to run around the Steam Factory, of course make sure that nobody is here doing anything, which is unlikely because this expansion's like almost, God, 10 years old, maybe even older, I don't know. But you're going to run around, clear the zone, get all the sellable items from the mobs, and sell them to these 2 vendors. So what I'm doing now is just making sure that I have the bag space for all of this, because when you collect every sellable item in the zone, you are going to need a lot of bag space. So I'm just making sure that all of my slots are filled here. People that have bags that can hold more than like 30 or 35 plus items are going to be at an advantage because you can hold more stuff, of course. Well, I usually make space just for my invulnerability clickies and my shrink item. So I'm going to make sure that I have the bank space, or I should say the inventory space, in bags. Make sure that you have enough platinum to pay the mercenary. So the other vendor I was talking about is over here. So there's two vendors, and this is the second one. So now that I have the inventory space, what I do is pull my map up and make sure that I'm going in the right direction, which I usually start out here, run through these small tunnels, make sure that you're shrunk, of course, and then go into this big room right here. And this is usually a good starting point, at least for me. So at this point, the trick is just to round up every mob in this room and just cast your damage over time spell, your aura. And at this point, I usually cast my invulnerability spell because you want to avoid these gnomes. These gnomes cast a spell which is probably the most annoying spell in the game that I've found. It's called Wrench Throw. And what it does is that when they cast it, it makes you appear like you're feigned death. So if you see me dropping just like I did right now, I got hit by Wrench Throw. So I'm going to try to round as many of these mobs up as possible. And at this point, what you want is for your healer mercenary to start healing you, because the mercenary will start taking aggro from you. I mean, you might still have a little bit of aggro yourself, but if you look, I'll try to make it easier to see the mercenary, my target. So I'll make myself the assist. There we go. So what you want to do is target your mercenary and then just adjust your damage over time aura to where she is. And then all the mobs that are hitting will just all collapse at once almost. And then you just set up your loot window so that you loot all of the items that are sellable. A lot of these are just quest items. See, it's like no drop and stuff, so just get rid of that. Round up some more and just repeat. And try not to underestimate these mobs, because even though they're really low level, a lot of them hitting you and you not paying attention can kill you. So just make sure that you're keeping an eye on your health and that something else doesn't distract you so that you accidentally die, because sometimes the mercenary can get caught up on something, or a ledge, or just something can happen. You can get stunned and your health just drops really fast. I haven't had it really happen very often, but when I'm not paying attention, sometimes this tactic will kill me. So then, after that room is pretty much finished, just go on to the next one. And I usually go up into this area and just start rounding up these mobs. And I have the extended target window up just to show you how the damage over time aura works. So it's on the right hand side of the screen there. And just make sure that these guys get into a small area enough to be affected by the damage over time aura. There we go, that looks about right. So then cast the sphere. And you can see their health dropping. And there you go. And then on to the next room. So, like I mentioned in my other video, where I was farming platinum. This really isn't going to make you rich. This is more just grinding for platinum and getting enough for, like, I don't know, if you want an item that's 500,000 platinum, I'm pretty sure you could do that, like doing this for a couple days. If you have some spells you need to buy for an alt, you can probably get enough for the spells just doing this for a few hours. This is a lot like just grinding old EverQuest, where you just sit in front of like a spawn point and just wait for spawning a name or whatever. This really is just something that you do when you really have nothing else to do in the game and you just need some money for items. Like, there's some teleport items that I want to get that are released every so often from the dev team that will take you to certain zones. You can place it in your EverQuest house or guild hall. And I like collecting those, but at a minimum they're like 1 million. A lot of them are 2 million, so I have gotten a few of them doing this for days and days. Maybe someday I will show my collection of teleport items in my guild hall. So I'd keep the map handy here because it's easy to get turned around. But once you have a pattern down, it's pretty easy. Just keep going like in a huge circle. In this room I definitely like to use my invulnerability spells because a lot of these gnomes cast wrench toss or wrench throw, and it's kind of irritating. But luckily with invulnerability you can avoid most of it. I don't know what the recast time is on these NPC spells, but you can get caught up in like a chain of just getting wrench throw one after another. So I always try to find a corner. Just go to a corner and then cast your spell. See if the healer mercenary has aggro. That's good. It'll take most of the aggro off me so my spells aren't interrupted. And I also should mention you might want to have a healer mercenary that's like level tier 5. I think that's the highest one. Just the highest tier mercenary, just so they don't get destroyed by these mobs. I know when I go free to play, my lower tier mercenary can't hold up, so I pretty much need the highest level here in order to have her survive. Alright, on to more of these mobs. And clear out this room. There's also a room next to it too. Right in here. And I think sometimes a name spawns in here. So we'll round these guys up, make sure the healer mercenary has the aggro, maybe get some scragglers here. And try to just drop the aura here. Alright, so I think you get the point. Just clear the zone, get all the collectible parts to sell to vendors, run back to the vendors and sell it. And that's basically the point of this video. Hopefully you have faction to sell to these vendors. If not, then I'm going to show you what you can do. Well, first I'll sell some of these contents. So just sell everything. Looks like nobody's been here since the last patch. So you'll get about 2,000 to 5,000 platinum per bag, depending on how much of the stuff you collect. The spells go for a lot, just like in my Beza and Zeta video, these mobs in this expansion in these zones seem to drop a lot of spells that can be worth a lot of money. So what I'm going to do is show you what you can do if you do not have the faction for this. And in Fortress Mechanatus, there's a vendor, and he's relatively close. So what I'm going to do is just go park my mage next to him. So I'll just zone over. So here we are back in Mechanatus. And I will run to the vendor that you can use if you do not have the proper faction. And it's right at the zone in, kind of. Make sure that you're invisible or you'll get jumped by these. I've tried to farm the mobs here in Mechanatus, but they don't drop as many good items. Plus it's just a zone that's really not meant to be experienced in, or do experience in. I think it's more a zone to just start quests in. So it really wasn't designed to be a farming zone. So what you're going to do is go to this tree, and there's a vendor, Nagelzoop. I might have mentioned him in my last farming video too. But you don't need appropriate faction to sell to him. So we'll just zone over and be called by the mage. And this vendor might not give you the best deals. I don't know, I haven't confirmed it yet, because you might get better prices at different vendors, but I don't know. I looked into it once or twice, but I can't confirm. Either way, you'll get platinum. So we'll just have my mage call my necro over. And I would just sell the items to this guy. Or if you don't have a mage alt, you'll have to just run over here and then just sell to him there. So that should just about do it. Any questions or comments, leave them below. Thank you for watching this video, and have a great day.